Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Wa fast chama Wontumi. The case in this woman dia no judge ni si woman file addresses on or before 17th of this month. Na 3rd July. Woman one fa atemu emra. Na Wontumi dia 710 say. And you are to me 8 years, 10 years now, man, that's what you
judging candid opinion. Let me be very blunt and honest and sincere. Maybe I'm not comfortable the rate of a case in A2 Milikasa. This is my personal view. I may be right, I may be wrong. Because cases of this nature, and my cases be bring what? You said that man in 2 Milika. And yes, I said that. What do I say? Obi na brabo, obi ni wiasio. Enti yen communicate your condition both Milika. You look at the cases very well, especially if you are for the accused person. You look at the cases very well. From so, Nagaji, prosecution per se in Milika. And then you know the man to Milika. That is why I say, who just started over, I say, so incident where some money to Milika for some period. Incident, so no one home so. So sometimes, when you are doing this, you need to be very careful. You should check cautiously. The main case, the name, why? But let me say in my candid opinion, my personal opinion. I will from the brave, too technical. Too technical. And yet too technical. And yet, who say we human life? Now, who say we human life, you know? I say you must go all out. Look, one bad focus here. I filed a motion. I'm not public domain, but I filed a motion at the High Court. What is the purpose of that motion? My filing a motion or notice to prohibit the circuit court judge from hearing the matter. Why? Why? Because circuit court judge, you know, they are reminded of me. Okay, I say my money bail qua, or the qua for your body view. You, some man bail quack or the quack for your bonny pew. And to me now to see this, and you know, that you know, Sabi, the way I mean, can you know, why an argument? And you know, in law, it means that he has descended into the arena of the conflict. I'm not attacking the judge, I am just raising the issues. So I filed a motion or notice to prohibit the circuit court judge. And I believe that by now, it will come on 7. And I think it's coming on the either 10th or 12th of the 12th or 13th June. I sought their permission because I said, me raising. If you buy a crowd, you know, me catcher, me pan say, some money, but for not on some man could go upon command, came this one. Never ban canning, never because then there, a semi blue substantive case, the other day, I cocaine submission burn that room. And about some man, then some man got a dance bench. As semi blue, a man, woman, because they are all lawyers assisting. When I have went to my emotion, not a make of failure. I can't do it without even giving them the opportunity to read the upon commission. Adoption, vote junior, a fuck a motion. Now, I make but as a semi duo and my woman. Maybe I'll go to my brother, that's the opportunity. That's bank derby. Because, oh, so sometimes when lawyers we are doing cases, sabi kafrachu. Number one, saying panic. What President Mahama? A petition against Namado in 2021. You know, we were about 10 lawyers, 10 or 12 lawyers against here, MPP Kokomule, MPP head of about 12. We were about 12 lawyers. A lawyer for $2 million, and I share Kokomule, MPP. na your fan petition number 1 or can say petition number 2 do me na do 9 cry and we are not by Frank Davis so we say akotampa akodina ho ene Frank Davis na sirifia yes we the seven years and be gina ha there but yeah defense no me ayi nyina no a lawyer for makoma ku do me so as lawyer sometimes Mr. Mikhail, cases in the bar. Mona yan Casabia, Yamin client, and no. You can assemble about 10 lawyers. No more the margin, no question the Yaman. Could they wait a next American? Could be an petitioner, President Mahama, your defense, you are about 12 lawyers. So, well, let's wait and see July 4th. But my candid opinion, the American case in A2. Now me scared, now me worried. Now me scared, now me worried. This is my personal opinion. Wontumi is my friend. Wontumi is my younger brother. Wontumi is my boss. Wontumi is my original chairman. Wontumi TV. Now I'm original fan because every Saturday I benefit from Wontumi. Wontumi should benefit from me. But unfortunately, I don't have the way to express my personal opinion. So let's wait and see. I am not like commentators. But I don't do that. I don't do that. And if you don't catch, oh, now say, because I got a crying people for me. Inti amba amode we yan bibi ni bi na ya on gambi no yan bibi fo I say many on my bone for being. Now then, on the baby on coming my lab on free. Yeah. Maybe not if you are offended by me, not correct. So be if you are happy about me, not correct. So be Obianim Ghana has said, me cannot correct. Never minded. The Minyanko Pono, I go with principles and morals and good conscience. Na me do what she will be. June 4th, and this is the first celebrating. I am about mercy, the bomb my battle. The day you know about celebrating. Maybe I can say, let's incident the issue free June 4th. And people for being rubbish. No, that rubbish. Women and celebrate and can make MPP. Minority won your press conference and academic day. To tell the whole world that there are lessons to be learned from June 4th. Papa anybody a woman. Nanina Jerry John Rollins or confessing. Some of the Kunku folk are non active participants of June 4th and 31st. And so, or the national reconciliation. John Rollins, but you know, 14 years
his company are standing trial over allegations that mining activities were undertaken within their Summary Boy concession and without the requisite authorization. The prosecution alleges that these activities occurred within a forest reserve and constituted unlawful mining operations. The Supreme Court has also dismissed a suit filed by Imani Africa and security analyst Professor Kwesi Inen challenging the president's authority to appoint and remove heads of security agencies. Delivering the judgment, Justice Gabriel Pwaman, who chaired the panel, said the court found no merit in the plaintiff's claims and accordingly dismissed all the relief sought. The court also ruled that the officers of the Inspector General of Police and the Director General of the Prison Service do not fall within the protective scope of Article 191 of the Constitution. It further held that the appointments of the Chief Fire Officer and the Comptroller General of the Ghana Immigration Service are governed by statutes and remain within the President's discretion as part of his constitutional responsibility for the nation's security.
In a sense, what we asked for, they haven't given us. But they've decided what to give us, and they've given that to us. And that's what they explained, that in their mind, the offices are not the same. In our law, as it is written, there's no distinction per se. All right, they all come under 191. They are public servants. They are protected, and all those things that we wrote. But the IG, the Supreme Court is saying that 2 of them should be specially treated, and then the others should also be separately treated. and they gave reasons like the security of the state and the president is the head of the security and a couple of things which it's not clear to us. We went to court on the basis of the law as it is. And the basis of the law as it is that all these offices are public offices. They are protected under Article 191. You can't just get up and sack a person because you assume office. Assuming office as a president or anything is not cause for sacking others, and there are many cases like that. So we will wait and read the full ruling of the Supreme
Chairman Wontumi. Among other things, Otredako Mensah admitted during cross-examination that he was unaware of the conversation between Wontumi and Henry Okumi, who is the prosecution witness number 2, which resulted in the latter mining on his concession at Samreboy. Lord Edwasari reports.
Bernard Enchi-Boisiakon, also known as Wontumi, is facing charges of assigning mining rights without the approval of the land minister and facilitating illegal mining operations on the Samreboy concession in the Western region. Former Western Regional Minister Kwabena Otredako Mensah, who also served as chairman of the Western Regional Security Council, told the court during his testimony that a formal complaint was received from Akonta Mining about the invasion of illegal mining operators on Wontumi Samreboy concession. He affirmed that the complaint was written and documented and was urgently acted upon by the Security Council, as it was consistent with several complaints from other mining rights owners in the region about organized criminal groups invading concessions and carrying out illegal mining. During cross-examination by Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Fremsai, the former minister, who served from 2017 to 2025, disclosed that he did not personally know the prosecution's second witness, Henry Okum, the individual who testified that he was commissioned by Wontumi to mine on his concession. Henry Okum had further told the court that Wontumi did not produce any formal mining rights. Asked about the engagement between Okum and Wontumi, Dako Mensah indicated that he was unaware of the interaction between the small-scale miner and the NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman. Lead counsel and the Apia Kubi expressed satisfaction with the outcome of the testimony.
Was to indicate that it was rather Chairman Wontumi and his company that made reports to his office as then chairman of the Western Regional Security Council, and that all efforts made by the Security Council to ward off illegal miners and also to redeem or reclaim the lands so degraded by illegal mining were at his instance. So today's evidence sits very well with our own, and indeed it exonerates people who engage in reclamation of degraded lands.
And we are streaming on Facebook and on our website, so be a part of the show.
We begin from the United Kingdom, where President John Mahama has stated that the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill passed by Parliament is not yet ready for presidential assent, noting that the process still has some way to go. Speaking at Chatham House in London on Monday, he explained that concerns have been raised regarding the bill's passage, particularly issues related to quorum and procedural compliance during parliamentary proceedings.
Parliament has been considering it, and it was supposed to have been passed last week. There have been a few issues raised. One, that there wasn't quorum when it was passed. That's an issue that has come up. And then two, there were some procedural lapses in terms of its passage. I just got some communication that the speaker was reading a statement to address the issue of the lapses in the passage of the bill. And so, like I said, when I was the opposition leader, the president has a number of options in this matter. It must come for assent, and so once the president gets it, you go through it because you are not part of the discussion in Parliament. And so the legal representative, the legal counsel in the presidency and the Attorney General would sit on it because it was a private member's motion. Right. This was not a government bill. And so we'll look at it and make sure that everything is in order before the president is advised to assent. The president has another option if there are some things that he thinks are a problem. He can refer to the Council of State for advice. The Council of State is an advisory body to the president, and so they will take a look at it, and then they will advise the president. And if there are issues, substantial issues that are raised, the president would return the bill to Parliament, indicating exactly what the issues are. And so there's still quite a while to go before that bill becomes law.
Thank you.
In a related development, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, says he was surprised at the speed by which the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill was passed by Parliament. He has, as a result, summoned the two leaders of the House to explain matters to him, insisting such a critical bill must be passed by consensus.
We know the copious instruments and laws on human rights. All over, we have to go through all, from the UN Charter to the African People's Rights and what, all, we have to go through all. Then we have also our development partners who have a lot of contribution to make. We have the United Nations coming in with proposals on the moon and everything. We as Ghanaians also have to dig deeper into our cultures, our customs, our values before we came out with what was passed on Friday. And in fact, when it was passed on Friday, it was even a surprise to me. Because I know that we're going to start the consideration of the bill. And that was the instructions I left before I went to attend to other activities. It was Friday, and members wanted to go home early to their constituencies, the one we're going to see today. And so I knew they wouldn't have completed. But all of a sudden, I read about this passage. I reacted, and later I saw on TV all the things that happened. And so this evening, I've asked the leaders to meet me in my office. So they will be here for us to go through it. This is such a critical deal that we believe there must be consensus. But it's not about passing the bill. It's about implementing it and making sure that it benefits.
Meanwhile, the minority caucus in Parliament has accused government and the ruling National Democratic Congress of weakening the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill through extensive amendments before its passage by Parliament last Friday. The Member of Parliament for Asen South, Reverend John Ntim Fodjo, was addressing a media briefing.
According to Reverend John Ntim Fodjo, the changes proposed in the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill represent a departure from commitments made to Ghanaians by the NDC during the 2024 election campaign. He maintained that existing Ghanaian laws already criminalize same-sex sexual relations and same-sex marriage, adding that the primary objective of the anti-LGBTQ+ bill was to address the promotion, advocacy and sponsorship of LGBTQ-related activities. The Asen South NP cited several amendments, including changes to provisions defining prohibited conduct and the introduction of new clauses, which he argues create exemptions for certain persons and institutions.
Promotion of and advocacy for activities prohibited under this act. This is the main thrust of the object of the bill. This is what we don't have in any part of our existing laws, for which this bill came about. Clause 2 says that nobody should promote any such things. Don't do things that will entice, advocate for, and make it enticing, incentivize, advertise, campaign for it. Don't do it. But they say that no, insert this immunity. This is an immunity clause. You are lifting them above the law and saying that if you are within these categories, you can do anything that promotes LGBT, that advocates for LGBT, supports and sponsors LGBT, enables LGBT, and just by virtue that you fall within these categories, as for you, you are above the law, you should be exempted.
Meanwhile, government and sponsors of the amendment bill are yet to formally respond to the minority's latest concerns. the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill remains one of the most contentious pieces of proposed legislation in the country.
We said in the House of Parliament because what was expected to be a productive special sitting of the House on Monday ended in disappointment after the House was unable to proceed with key businesses due to the absence of several members of the House and the failure of the Minister for Health to appear and answer scheduled questions. Evelyn Tingma reports.
Parliament traditionally does not sit on Mondays as part of its regular schedule. However, the House last week resolved to sit on Monday, June 1, to address pressing national matters, including an appearance by the Minister for Health to answer questions from members of Parliament. When proceedings began shortly after 10 a.m., the sitting was briefly suspended to allow some issues to be resolved. When MPs resumed after about 30 minutes, the Majority Chief Whip, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamako, requested that the House be adjourned.
He was there. When the Majority Leader presented the business statement, some of us, we had an opinion that Parliament don't sit on Monday and we should not sit on Monday. You argue seriously that the reason why we should sit on Monday is the Minister of Health will appear. And it is the case that you did not even inform the Minister for Health. And now we are putting it on the clerk at table that the communication didn't get to the minister. When you were programmed, you should have been aware. Today you have wasted everybody's time. The government have no business. And you are only 23 in the chamber. Count yourself, 23 out of 189. 23. And now you want to turn it to the fact that it is our side who don't have members for the... Where is the chairman of that committee?
May I move that the House be adjourned till tomorrow midday, 12 o'clock.
As many as are in favor of adjournment say aye. Those against say no.
The sitting may have ended without any major decisions, but it has once again brought the issue of accountability in public service into sharp national focus. Evelyn Tingma, TV3 News, Parliament House.
And away from Parliament, Ghana and the United Kingdom have signed a strategic growth partnership agreement to fuel job creation and industrial development across key sectors. President John Mahama at the signing assured global investors that Ghana is undertaking major investments to position the country as a regional trade and investment hub. Meanwhile, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama says the banking sector is more robust now despite the 2025 losses.
The Ghana-UK Growth Partnership Agreement adds to the numerous deals and the strong economic ties the two countries share. As we speak, about 670 UK foreign direct investment projects are in Ghana, recording about £1.8 billion in 2025 alone. President Mahama is optimistic about the future and has outlined a raft of Ghana's investment priorities.
Infrastructure development remains central to our economic transformation agenda. Through the $10 billion 5-year Big Push infrastructure program, we're accelerating investments in roads, railways, ports, housing, transport corridors, and aviation infrastructure. We're expanding airport infrastructure and pursuing the establishment of a new national airline to improve connectivity and facilitate trade, tourism and exports between Ghana and major international markets, including, of course, the United Kingdom.
In an assurance to the investor community, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Isiama, says the sector is now robust and has assured that the landmark losses in 2025 will not recur.
Many of the issues that we came to meet, we had already analyzed, we had developed solutions. And so immediately, you remember, we had to tighten monetary policy quickly. Why? Because there were some policy missteps the year before. No wonder you saw our financials, how much it costed us. But it was a necessary cost. We've brought about stability. Most of the costs that we incurred last year will not be repeated this year.
He also shared details about high records of remittances in 2025.
At the time we came in, there was a lot of offshoring going on. And so when we got in, we had to put in measures to compel all these people to pay in those flows so that the inflows come through. No wonder last year remittance inflows got as high as His Excellency has given the figure nearly $8 billion.
Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen highlighted how expenditure cuts helped the central bank to tame inflation.
Overall, what we've seen is that by cutting expenditure, we have actually assisted the central bank to be able to control inflation. And it was important from that stand. Then secondly, we needed to ensure that we capture our gold to control the gold export. And so we introduced what we call the gold board. And so what we did was the introduction of the gold board alone, once calendar year, we're able to buy gold up to 14 billion United States dollars.
One of the panels discussed the effect of illegal mining and the threat it poses to investors in that sector. But in all of this, the government delegation has assured that there are bold reforms underway to make the country yet again attractive to investors. Christian Yale, TV3 News, London.
And the Minister for Foreign Affairs says that all is set for the second batch of Ghanaian evacuees to leave South Africa once a landing permit is granted by the South African authorities for the aircrafts to land. According to the Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, the numbers have risen to almost 900 Ghanaians seeking to flee the unsafe streets of South Africa. Ghana's efforts to evacuate its citizens from South Africa have been delayed after South African authorities failed to grant landing permits for the 2 aircraft expected to transport stranded Ghanaian nationals out of the country. Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa says although the number of voluntary evacuees has increased from the original 300, no effort will be spared in repatriating every Ghanaian willing to leave South Africa. He added that this commitment remains firm as xenophobic attacks continue in parts of the country.
The final batch of Ghanaians in South Africa have all now registered. We have a little above 600. Earlier, those who wrote their names was in the region of 800, but it's clear that we'll have to go beyond that. We now are exceeding 900, but thanks to the compassionate leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he has said that all Ghanaians in harm's way, in distress, who are being harassed, being dehumanized, we should not leave anyone behind. So I can assure you that all is set for the next batch to arrive. We're just waiting for the South African authorities to finalize our request for the flight permits so that our chartered jets can move in.
He further debunked assertions by South African authorities that the majority of Ghanaians who were repatriated were illegal immigrants.
What is beautiful?
So the lessons are saying
in all honesty. Okay. Who dream me? The term who dream me say, Yakodu Bebia as the politicians, the person who determine the outcome of cases. They say, I one politician, the person who determine. The kind a GN bank assembly. Adia a court, our court, no politician to me promising. Don't Mahama promise you when you say, oh, maybe I want to say, or promise you, say me bar, may restore licenses.
Yes,
promise you,
yes.
Ampa Obaye near restore the licenses a mano. Now judgment no argue in favor of GN Bank. There's a judgment in the area. Oma reveals that judgment no. Are there because president say
Oba
restore. Now the SRC looking at class a president may and say judgment by and one of the people one of the spokesperson of the president no. I can say John Mahama is a promise-keeping president.
In fact, before such judgment, a day before such judgment in Ebano, now Dr. Papa question do himself, and in a tie, and the suit, and the other two social media actually say, "Oh my, ready so more kwejuma." A day before the judgment.
Admiration of them.
Judgment in the way so no, you saw the damp and phobia.
Let me say now, buying and actually the court how to judge cases.
One na court na you. The more better man penny
because man penny and I control court news say. Ebi any chairman want to be there ebe. The deputy attorney general Edibetro say judgment in the on the 3rd of July. Ni who NDC for say chairman want to be them. Chairman want to be say obesha football or prison. Obey the campaign or prison. Not just say I don't know how with them.
Or see based on information that we
to be as you. Or is it based on information they could tell?
Nipa yin so me na me no ka so ne mampani mahama ne nam UK nipa otro sa ti endra wo otro no mampani mahama ne nam e wo UK
nti me ho adwiri mu no eno no as a man dia ko du no government no e na hyehyɛ the outcome of cases e wo court eh ne kwa ya na by democracy dey say are we back to the PNDC era
so ka pandai matuni na case no a day before say judgment but NDC for a jubilate
say by
election and mampani mahama won a da Supreme Court the judgment about on the first election petition no was white the vice as white no no tin ni ade
enti musu no omoban
okay
and as I say mo dey akọ another level but ya hwe bi ye sia no a Ghana for ubi abaka so de MPP ni o de MPP ni ko na chairman Wontumi nye onipa na se ato chairman Wontumi ye nei se onye MPP ni a o chinebu ebetumi ato so even NDC ni kra na ebetumi ato obi anu one president na se oni obi wa asem
na se chairman Wontumi a owusika no Wontumi emponi dia na me no ordinary party person, ordinary member Ghana ni no.
Omuso wo mu a
den na mo de